Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah. Yes, yeah. The governments and people have something in common. Yes, yeah.
So Pakistan is in a bloody war for the past 10 years, and thousands have been dying. And this war is imposed on Pakistan by the US, as well as it is practically held on the people by the Pakistani military, which has a very nasty history of waging war against its own people. You remember the 1971 war against the Bengalis, and there have been 3 military operations against the Balochs in Pakistan, and against the Sindhi people in Pakistan, and against all sorts of minorities. War against terrorism now is actually a war against Afghanistan and Pakistani people. As I told you, 47,000 people have died, but in just past 1 year, 4 million people have been displaced in this war. And in just last year, in 2009, 12,000 people were killed. And this year, 2010, is getting more bloody. And the Pakistani state says it is winning the war. But there has been a tremendous response against this war, mostly by the rural poor, and the response has been divided into urban centers. So state repression actually means that it has been largely a guerrilla warfare with suicide attacks and explosions. And also the US is fueling this war. Last year it gave $1.8 billion to Pakistan as military aid. This year it is giving $2.6 billion as military aid to Pakistan. But the Pakistani ruling classes are also divided. One part is dominated by the national capitalists who want to limit the impact of the war, but they are actually for the war as well. So let me tell you how they have succeeded in spreading this war. It is through dividing the rural poor and the urban poor. Pakistanis at large do not support this occupation or the war or the suicide bombings, but they were bombed into supporting this war and occupation. But Pakistanis were born into supporting this war. And US wanted the Pakistanis to own this war. And that's why Benazir Bhutto promised to convert this so-called war on terror into people's war on terror. That's why you see Zardari, Asif Zardari, the president of Pakistan, who is a corrupt leader, uniting all the ruling class into a war against the people. That's how we survive. The more there is war, the more the corrupt politicians and the more the military operations there will be in Pakistan. The spread of war means that there are suicide attacks and bombings. The state attacks the rural poor, and media and state portray this attack as an attack on the urban population. So the result is very horrific as far as the working class is concerned. Urban population in the cities starts to see the rural poor as their own enemy. And the enemy of the Pakistani military becomes the enemy of the urban poor. That is what makes this so-called war on terror a people's war on terror. So it has twin advantages as well. It hides the horror of the military operation, and it divides the urban working class into those supporting war and opposing war. But Pakistani resistance against the war has met with various confusions as well. So there is war, but there is also resistance. But mainly this resistance is led by the Taliban. And they have succeeded in getting the support of the rural poor because they raised a slogan against the corrupt rich elite and the occupied Pakistani army and the US military drone operation. So in cities there has been anti-war protests and anti-imperialist front has been formed in Pakistan, but the left is divided and confused over the war. They are confused because they want the US to crush the Taliban because they consider them as Islamists who are going to impose their will on the people, but at the same time they don't want to fight capitalism as well. So it is just like substituting your own war and giving it to the state and giving it to the imperialists so that they fight for you, and as a result the entire population of Pakistan faces an immense war on the people. But despite this war, there has been many working class struggles. across Pakistan. In the past 6 months, thousands of temporary workers have been striking and protesting, and there have been many permanent workers in steel, electricity, and in among the teachers who have got many concessions against the ruling class, from the ruling class. What we see now in Pakistan is a spillover of war from Afghanistan into Pakistan. The US now stands defeated and wants a compromise with the same forces it calls evil forces like Taliban. In the Pakistani state sees in its defeat an oncoming rise of the right wing. So it supports the Sunni sectarian groups organizing pogroms against the Shias and the Ahmadis and other minorities, and the myth about the Pakistani state becoming secular stands exposed. But still it is a weak ruling class. Division between the national and the pro-imperial capitalists, they keep on coming to the fore, and any mass movement can widen this division as shown by the loyal movement. What I would say in the end is that a revolution is possible in Pakistan, but it can only be possible with the working class that can turn it into a struggle that takes control of the society, liberate the oppressed nations, and end the rule of the capital over labor. But if it fails, then the real barbarians, the imperialists, are already over there, and they will continue their slaughter. And one thing, the US or the Pakistani army is not alone in fighting this war against the people of Pakistan and Afghanistan, or the exploitation of the working class. There are 40 other countries as well, including Britain, imposing what they call an F-Park war. So we cannot fight it alone. That is why an international revolution is necessary. They have joined all their forces. They have come together in various ways to wage a war against the people of their own people. And what is required, it is not possible to fight against this war, against the increasing capitalist exploitation here in Britain as well as in Pakistan or anywhere in the world as capitalists face crisis. Therefore, it is necessary to be part of an international movement. So those amongst you who have not joined the SWP yet and are still waiting that when the right moment will come, are missing the chance. You should now step forward, join the revolutionaries so that you can become part of the fight back against war and capitalism and become part of an international movement.